blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the words I spit. So sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in.
Where to even begin? What's going on, Rangers fans? My name is Jimmy Fanizzi, alongside Jeffrey Krentzman of Mind Your Pucking Business, and welcome to another edition of From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast presented by Game Time. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94 and use the hashtag BlueSeats to chat with us on any and all topics at hand. Also, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube and subscribe on all audio platforms, and be sure to rate us 5 stars. It would mean the world to us. First and foremost, Jeffrey, it's good to see you again, my friend. I hope you and your family had a wonderful Thanksgiving. How's everything with you?
I am good. Thanksgiving was good until I went to the Ranger game in Philly the day after. I hope the same can be said for you, Jimmy, and you had a good Thanksgiving as well.
I feel sorry you went to that game, my man. But I do hope you had a good time in Philly, the city itself, regardless. But with that being said, my Thanksgiving was wonderful. It went by too quick, but I'm just shocked the holidays came at a rapid pace. But with that being said, boy, we got a lot to discuss. At the time of this recording, it is Monday, December 9th, 2024, and I am currently still in recovery from being at the game yesterday against Seattle. So if my voice is not fully 100%, I apologize about that. So what you hear is what you get today. But anyway, that's beside the point. A lot happened over the past few days with the Rangers. And look, I've ranted and raved enough about the struggles they've been through the last month and a half or so throughout the season so far. You can go check out the last episode when I talked about the entire month of November. But Jacob Trouba got traded. It seems like the Ranger fans, well, a majority of them at least, got what they wanted. In case you missed it, Jacob Trouba got traded to the Anaheim Ducks for a player, let's face it, I've never heard of before, Ulo Vakaninen, sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly, and a 4th round pick for 2025, which was confirmed about a half hour after that trade was made. Now, Jeff, when I first heard about this trade, I initially thought it was a bit underwhelming considering the return. However, after hearing that the Rangers got $8 million freed up in cap space because of that trade, that was a win in and of itself because, hey, they ended up extending Igor and hopefully this means more moves to come. So because of that, I give the trade a solid C. Where are you on this? And what do you think of the way that the Rangers sort of handled this? Because Trouba went on record saying that he was not happy with the way everything went down, from the Rangers making it public last year to all these rumors being spread around him and his wife and all that stuff. They could have done a better job handling it, so I agree with Trouba to that extent, but where are you on this?
It's addition by subtraction. I mean, I think it's hard to be unhappy with it. At this point, you know, the trade was done, as we all know, and you just alluded to it, Jimmy, was done for salary cap purposes, right? When you can get $8.5 million off the book, you have a goaltender to re-sign, which obviously happened a couple hours after. I'm not sure if that's coincidental or not. You know, you have him to sign. You have other contracts coming up. And Jacob Trouba just didn't work here. So I was more than fine with the trade. I think the key to the entire trade was what you just said, was that the Rangers didn't have to retain any of the salary. So all of that money came off the books. So I think it was the right move. It's unfortunate it came to that, but being the current state that the team is in, it was definitely the best move for them to get that full amount off the books. Even if a player coming back, we have trouble pronouncing the name, or a draft pick, we don't know if it'll even work out, it still was the right move because of the salary cap relief.
Now, do you think that this could have been handled a lot better? Like I said, I think it could have been handled a lot better. I don't think that it should have been made public to even begin with last season, considering, people went after his family and all that other stuff. The rumors out there turn out to not be true with him going to the Red Wings for Patrick Kane and a couple of draft picks. That ended up not being true. So, in a way, the Rangers kind of started something that really didn't need to be started, even though we kind of knew that the experiment wasn't working. But even still, I thought this could have been handled a lot better. Where are you on this?
Yeah. I mean, look, you definitely don't like the fact that in the summer the stuff got leaked like it did in that weekend before the 4th of July, that they were looking to move him, and it was all because Trouba, wouldn't waive his no trade clause because his wife Kelly was had another year of a residency program, and he has a young kid. Look, nobody benefited from that. I mean, Jacob Trouba has a right, and look, you can not like Jacob Trouba, you're entitled to act like that, but you got to understand it was not fair to him for that stuff to get leaked. I mean, he would never have wanted that. It wasn't a fair situation for any player to be in, that he was made really the culprit in everyone's eyes because it was, hey, the Rangers are trying to move you. It's not working. We don't want your salary. And you're saying no. So the fact that that became public, you can understand, I think, if you take a step back, why Jacob Trouba would not be in love with that.
So you can also make the same case that they could have handled the whole Barclay Goodrow situation a lot better too, because if you remember, he specifically had the San Jose Sharks on the list of teams that he did not want to go to, but the Rangers basically said, screw you, we're sending you there anyway. So it leads me to this question. Do the Rangers have a problem with how they treat certain players? And here's why I ask this. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. We seem to have a situation where, look, the veteran players this year are not good this year. Kreider hasn't stepped up. Zibanejad's looked terrible. Trouba's looked terrible. Keandre Miller, even though he's young, he's still considered a young veteran. He has been absolutely terrible. But here's my thing. We see rookies get benched for minor inconsistencies. And whenever that happens, they get benched. And to that I say, what's the point of that when you can send them back out on the ice and have them learn from their mistakes so they can learn not to do that again? But yet when a veteran makes a mistake, oh, we'll keep you out there. No! When are we going to start showing accountability and treat these veterans the way they're supposed to be treated? Hey, if you make a mistake, you've been here long enough, you know better, you're going to be benched for at least the rest of this game or for one more game after that. Where is the accountability here? Do we have a problem here with how we treat these players nowadays? Because it seems like we treat these young kids, these rookies, unfairly, and these veterans get treated like VIPs. Like, am I wrong here?
I don't know that you're wrong, but here's what I would say. If you want, let's say tonight, because they play Chicago the day we're taping this, right?
Yes.
Let's say tonight Peter Laviolette says in a meeting with Chris Drury, you know what? Mika Zibanejad has been really bad. Let's bench him. Does Mika Zibanejad really need to be benched to wake up to know that he's not doing well? And here's the other thing. Who are you going to put in his space, in his spot right now, that's going to deliver you as good of an opportunity to win a game when the team is struggling and it needs points? So I don't disagree that maybe the veterans are getting off a little bit unscathed, but I'm not sure what else I would want them to do. Like, I don't need to see a third line center in Hartford come up tonight. I need to win. And Mika Zibanejad still gives me the best chance to win. Now, to your other question with the Barclay Goodrow, I think Chris Drury, and people who know him will tell you this, is just ruthless in the sense that he's going to do, and he kind of even alluded to this on Friday, he likes Jacob Trouba, but he's going to do what his job is to do what he thinks is best for the team. As a fan, as a season ticket holder, I like that, right? I want a general manager. Now, maybe I disagree with certain moves, but I want a general manager that's going to sit there and say, look, I'm going to put feelings second and results first and do what I think is needed to put the best product on the ice to give the team that I am responsible for the best chance to win. So I understand where it can get perceived, if you will, in a way that, wow, look what he did to Goodrow, look what he did to Trouba. But if the alternate is, I'd rather keep Barclay Goodrow in his 4 regular season goals to be a fourth line center at a high amount against the cap. I don't want that more than I want him to take other people's feelings into account. I'm okay with it.
I mean, look, it might be just me, But I just feel like the Rangers should do a better job with the way they handle things lately. Because lately, with Trouba, Goodrow, and these veteran players not stepping up, it seems like, they're hiding something that we don't know. I don't know. I'm not in that room. But look, that's just me. I'm just a fan. What the hell do I know? All I know is, in my personal opinion, everything should have been handled a lot better. Now, before we get into sort of the blame game, so to speak, for the Rangers for their struggles recently, let's talk about the Igor extension, because Jacob Trouba gets traded, $8.5 million off the books, and the Rangers paid Igor. Now, he did not play against Seattle because he had a baby, and congratulations. That's obviously way more important than a hockey game. He had a baby girl. Congratulations. But Igor gets his money, so is this the right move to extend him? Because while I want to say yes, because you have your guy for 8 years, $11.5 million, I'm also worried that they're not going to have enough cap space in the future to build around him for a potential cup contender. So I'm kind of mixed on it. I want to say yes, but at the same time, I'm kind of worried about the extension, that it won't pay off in these 8 years. What do you think, Jeff? Was this the right move or no?
It was the right move. So, you have to keep in mind, over the length of the 8 years, the cap will go up every year. So there is more room. What you look at as the total cap ceiling right now will not be the cap ceiling in 3 years. It will not be the cap ceiling in 6 years. It will go up. You cannot tell you have a hard time arguing to me that you have a player in the most important position. The goalie is the most important position in hockey, right?
I agree.
It's not, I don't even know how you debate that. The goalie is the most important position. I have the player right now going into, or right at the beginning of the prime of his career, who is one of the best in the game at it. How do I let him walk? If I let him walk, now I've got to use some of that $11.5 million to use it on another goalie. Now, granted, I'm not going to spend 11.5 on another goalie. Maybe I spend 4, maybe I spend 5, whatever I decide is the best option. With that remaining money, how do I know I'm going to spend that $6 million wisely? And I'll go this: if God willing, the Rangers were to ever get to the Stanley Cup final, and right now it's obviously looking less likely this year, but let's say they got there, and you were at Game 7 at the Garden. Would you rather have the highest played position on your team as the goalie, or the other side of it, Connor McDavid at center on the other team? And again, the Rangers can't have Connor McDavid, but my point is that going into that game, you want the best goalie above any other position on the ice. So I don't know how they could have let him walk. How could Chris Drury sell to Ranger fans, including myself, who's a season ticket holder, who's spending money, and they're now in essence spending my money, to say, look, we didn't think that it was best to give our goalie, who's the best in the game, another 8 years. We're going to go in a different direction. That would have been a very difficult sell.
The 24-25 NHL season still has that new car smell, and the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started at DraftKings. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Or if you're feeling adventurous, you can look at some future championship odds for the season, like the New York Rangers, who are at plus 1,000 to win it all. That might be something I'd go after, but that's just me. What you want to bet on is up to you. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
Copyright NHL 2024, all rights reserved. I love the game of hockey. The chill of the ice, the hits along the boards, the massive saves, and of course, all the goals. But I can't help but think, ticket prices for hockey games are really expensive. Not with the Game Time app. Whether you're looking for seats behind the glass, courtside, opening night on Broadway, it does not matter. Game Time features Game Time picks to only filter the best deals for any event that you want. For example, Boston Bruins at the New York Rangers on January 2nd. Thanks to the Game Time Picks feature, I'm able to save over $50 on my ticket purchase. You can't find that on any other ticketing app. But here's what I love most about the Game Time app. They have the ability to offer you tickets last minute for even better deals. Don't believe me? Well, you should download Game Time for yourself and find out. Take all the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time!
It also would have been a really bad look on Chris Drury, because if you let your best player walk, then obviously not a good look. And look, Jonathan Quick has been stellar this season, despite the fact that he just lost against Seattle and did not look good at all. But even still, while Jonathan Quick has looked good, do we know that Dylan Garand is the answer? Now, granted, he looks promising in the minors, but do we know that he is NHL ready? So I do see your point there. But I don't know. Part of me is still worried about the cap, even though you said it is going to go up every single year. But, again, we don't know how ready these prospects are, but I do want to see them get minutes eventually. But look, I'm going to lean toward yes, that it is the right move, because you don't let your best player walk out the door for nothing. But I don't know. Part of me is still worried, but we shall see if it does indeed pay off, no pun intended. But with that being said, let's play a little bit of the blame game. Now, look, we know the Rangers have been awful for the last month and a half. They can't seem to score, even though they just netted 5 goals against Seattle, which is a big improvement from what we've seen over the last month or so. The defense is still Swiss cheese, and they don't help their goalie. That's the biggest concern right there. But I had a conversation with a fan recently who said that Peter Laviolette is to blame. And to that I say, for what? For what reason? Look, people blame coaches and managers all the time. People blame Aaron Boone on the New York Yankees for literally everything that goes wrong with the Yankees every single year. And look, they are to blame to some extent, but with the Rangers, they have recycled coach after coach after coach after coach, and nothing's changed, at least with the players. Can we start holding these players accountable for not doing their job? I don't want to hear about Chris Drury. I don't want to hear about Peter Laviolette. I want to hear more blame on the players, because the players have to ultimately go out there and do their job. And right now, they're not. So if I'm blaming anybody right now, I'm not blaming Chris Drury. I'm not blaming the coach. Look, if you want to blame any coach, how did the defense get worse under Phil Housley? Can somebody explain that to me? So maybe you can point blame there, but at the same time, these players need to do the work. So if you want to blame anybody, blame the players.
Well, first off, before I even answer that, I love your passion. I just want.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I want to say that was totally unscripted too. That was kind of fun to watch. I enjoyed that. I hope you.
Thank you.
I hope you clip that and make a clip of it, because that was great.
Oh my gosh.
I would agree with you, and we had a clip go up on Instagram the other day about it, that I said the two people I wouldn't blame for the current play is Chris Drury or Peter Laviolette. But I do know, as a sports fan, and not just in hockey, when it's always easier to change a coach than it is the players, right? So Peter Laviolette has this going for him, and this is the side that I would be on. He just won the President's Trophy 6 months ago.
Thank you.
With pretty much the same roster, minus Wenberg and Goodrow, which doesn't matter that much. So
True.
I'm not sure it's on him. Now, I would be worried if I was Peter Laviolette in this case. It is now December 9th when you and I are taping this. So it's still early in the season, right? If the Rangers, first off, I think if the Rangers don't make the playoffs this year, he's out 100%. And at that point, you've had a season to get it together. It's a hard sell to say, look, he's going to figure out his mojo again next year and we're going to bring him back. But I would be, if I was Peter Laviolette, I don't think I'm concerned right now about my job, but I will say this. If it got to mid to late January and this was still going on and they can't get out of this tailspin and gain some traction in the standings, I would start to get to be a little worried. Now, Peter Laviolette historically, and I said this going into the season, if you look at where he's been, and the Caps, his last job was a great example of this, like Gerard Gallant, that first year players adapt to him and play hard for him and they overachieve, hence winning the President's Trophy. The second year, wherever he goes is almost always a regression. Now, if you've won the President's Trophy, you're going to regress, right? You'd have to win the President's Trophy again, and to win it 2 years in a row is not a fair expectation. However, a regression from the President's Trophy to not making the playoffs, that wouldn't be okay.
That I agree with you there. Look, if they somehow, some way miss the playoffs, I unfortunately do agree that there has to be some question involving his job security. Do I think he'd get fired? Me personally, I don't think so. But look, you cannot expect this team to win a President's Trophy back-to-back years. That is literally impossible. I haven't seen anybody done that in my lifetime, at least. But look, players have to do their jobs. But if it were up to me, I'm still keeping Peter Laviolette for the long run because I still trust him to ultimately lead this team to a Stanley Cup in the future. But if it comes down to, they're still regressing maybe the following year or the year after that, then I would say, okay, maybe it's time for a change here and there because maybe the players don't like the way he operates and stuff like that. But then again, you could say that for every other Rangers coach, like, maybe Alain Vigneault on his decline, David Quinn, who nobody likes, but that's just me. But this is not a coaching problem. Look, if you want to point to any positives for any player, two stand out to me. Panarin is starting to heat up again, which I like to see. He scored 2 goals against Pittsburgh. He had a couple of points against Seattle. But Will Cooley stands out to me. I mean, dear God. I mean, this kid is having a breakout year, and the team is sucking right now. But Will Cooley has been an immense positive. He has been a lone star outside of Panarin, who's starting to heat up again. Will Cooley's been a star so far this year. But Jeff, who do you think, who has stood out to you among this tragic month and a half, so to speak?
Well, I said last week on the show, there's one player I said 2. I'm going to change it now to 1. There are only 2 players on this team that have not only exceeded expectations, but have even lived up to expectation, right? So everyone else to me is below, and then 2 players are above, and that would be Will Cooley and Jonathan Quick. We could take yesterday out of the equation.
Thank you.
Other than that, you really can't name one player that not only has had a good year for himself, but has had a year of whatever his expectation level was, right? This is what we expect of you. Now go out and blow that out of the water. I can't even give you another player that's hit the expectation level. They haven't. Cooley has been a bright spot. Now he has cooled off a little bit in the last few games. That's going to happen. He wasn't going to continue at this pace. I mean, let's be real. But It is encouraging to see for sure, especially considering his age, that he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, 100%. And Jonathan Quick, again, even though he has lost his last 2 games, he's still been a lone positive. I mean, everyone thought he was done. He's going to be 39, and he's still doing stuff like this. I mean, come on now. You can't ask for anything more. Jonathan Quick has nothing more left to prove. He's a 3-time champion. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's got the most wins by an American-born goalie in history, okay? So he has nothing more left to prove. Look, again, I know he's been struggling his last 2 games. He got blown up by Edmonton. He lost against Seattle in a high-scoring game. But you know what? You can't ask Jonathan Quick to do anything more than he already is. Now, what you can ask the Rangers to do is improve defensively. But other than that, Jeff, what else can you see? Like, what other flaws do you see on the Rangers here that just needs to be fixed?
Now, how much time do you have?
You got about 10 minutes. No, I'm just
yeah.
kidding. Go ahead.
So defensively, they're a train wreck.
Yes.
I won't even get into the lack of scoring production on the defensive end. I just mean your number one job in playing defense. There is no defense. The high quality opportunities.
Well, actually, hang on. I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize. But speaking of that, can we point to the fact that Adam Fox has 21 points and all of them are assists?
Yeah, Adam Fox.
Insane to me. No goals, 21 assists. You can't make this up even if you tried.
Yeah, Adam Fox has had a really bad year for his standards. Now, if you told me he had 21 points and he was your third pair defenseman, you'd be okay with that. But it's not okay with it being a guy that's won the Norris before. So, no, Adam Fox is not having a good year. It's not getting talked about, but we can group that into the situation of players here not living up to what they need to do. Defensively, they need to clean stuff up. Offensively, look, there are players that are counted on to score, particularly the top six. I mean, Trocheck has been better the last few games. Lafreniere has not done a lot. We talk about last year how he made a quantum leap. He really hasn't continued on a positive trajectory this year at all so far, if I'm being honest. And Panarin hasn't been good the last few weeks. Zibanejad and Kreider have been really hit or miss with way more misses than hits. Riley Smith, I think, has been okay. Like, I don't think he's been great, but I think if the other two on the line were going, he would be fine. It would be fine what he's doing. So, yeah, I mean, look, there's just issues all over the place. Goaltending hasn't been great either. Igor hasn't been great. I mean, look at his record. I think he's something like 9-9 or something, which you wouldn't expect. Now, a lot of that is, again, he's getting 45 shots against per game, and a lot of them are point-blank opportunities. So I don't know that I pin it all on him. But there isn't an area here that I would sit here and say, you know what, they're doing really well, Jimmy. They're doing well in this area. I don't have any to mention right now.
Yeah, pretty much. And also the fact that you keep getting outshot virtually every night other than the game against Seattle is atrocious. It also shows you the lack of offensive pressure there is on this team. It's the same thing where they struggle to find open lanes. They can't get set up on the power play. It's just atrocious to watch. And there's no high quality scoring chances because they are letting the opposition forecheck way too much. And there's just no effort. The other team is clogging the lane, blocking shots. And meanwhile, the Rangers are playing tiddlywinks, not doing a damn thing. So look, defensively, yes, it's always been an issue. There's no debate there. But offensively, it's just as much of a mess, if not worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's hard for me to disagree with you on any of the counts. Everything is a mess right now. It's multiple areas, and you're seeing that. Like, if a team is going to go through a slide that they just went through, losing 6 in a row and still not really being well, all systems have to be failing to be that bad, right? If you think about it. And what we're seeing right now are all systems failing.
Now, to wrap this up, let me ask you this. At the end of the day, despite the struggles that are going on right now, do you still think this Ranger team is making the playoffs as presently constructed, yes or no?
If you put a gun to my head and had me say yes or no, I would say yes.
Me too. I still think they'll make it. Now, look, you can point to those struggles all you want. I still think they're a playoff team at the end of the day, but as far as cup contenders, that's not looking good right now because I foolishly picked them to go to the Stanley Cup final this year, and not looking good right now. Not looking good, but go ahead, Jeff, I'm sorry.
No, apologize. To give your pick some life, right? Right now, if the Rangers were going to get there and get to the Cup final, this would be the most logical path, right? They're not having a good regular season. They get in as either a wild card or the third spot in the Metro, right? Because you have Carolina and the Devils and the Caps are legit. I don't know that the Caps will sustain this pace. I mean, we'll see.
I was going to say that they are really surprising a lot of people this year. And this is without Ovechkin.
I know. But I think the recipe would be this. You get in and you look at like the Florida run 2 years ago versus Vegas when they got in as the last wild card at the end of the season. You get in the playoffs, Igor Shesterkin plays out of his mind like he did last playoffs. You get, some of these players wake up because they know it's the playoffs and not the regular season and going through the motions. If the Rangers are going to get there, and I don't necessarily know that they will, I don't think they will get to the Cup final with what I'm seeing, but if they are going to, that would be the road that they would probably most likely take to get to that destination.
We shall find out, and hopefully things get better as the months go on here. Jeff, always a pleasure to collaborate with you. Thank you so much for hopping back on. But before I let you go, as always, how can people find more about your show, and where can they follow you on social media?
Sure. Mind Your Pucking Business on Instagram. We're super active. We respond to literally every DM. That's like our 101 main thing. So if you send us something, you will hear back from us probably pretty quickly. You can listen to us on iTunes or Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're broadcast live on YouTube and Instagram on Wednesday mornings at 10. So you can find us there. And thank you, Jimmy, as always. I love the show. So thank you.
Hey, always appreciate you and all of your support over the last 2 years for me. He is Jeffrey Krentzman of Mind Your Pucking Business. Go follow these guys. I'll leave a link down below to the YouTube channel and all audio platforms so you guys can go subscribe. But that is going to do it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this content, make sure you hit that like button on YouTube and subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified of all episodes. And make sure you follow us on all social media as well, Twitter, Instagram, at BlueSeats94, and use the hashtag BlueSeats to chat with us. And also make sure you subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, and all of the audio platforms. And be sure to rate us 5 stars. It would mean the world to us. And one more reminder, we are sponsored by Game Time. Take all the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Game Time Picks feature. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Alongside Jeffrey Krentzman, my name is Jimmy. This is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Hopefully things get better. Go Blue Shirts, and we'll catch you next time. Peace!